to use MyFitnessPal, and I'm only going to go through the very basics that you need in order to track calories and macros. And it kind of starts also with using a food scale, because that's the most accurate way you can measure anything. And I know this sounds a little bit intricate and annoying to do, but believe me, once you understand it, it's super simple. And you can also actually save things inside the app so that you don't have to recalculate them or re-enter them over and over, because usually we have our usual foods that we eat over and over almost every day. So the app is going to ask you to enter in all of your details, your weight, your goal weight, at what pace you want to lose weight. While these are great, I don't actually like to use this feature within the app because it's not very accurate and they haven't updated it as far as I've seen. I actually like to do one of two things to determine, first of all, my starting maintenance calories, meaning how many calories I need a day in order to just maintain my weight. And that way I know how to calculate how many calories I need to take off in order to be in a calorie deficit and lose weight. So the first way to do this is the easier way, but a little bit less accurate, and you might have to adjust as you go, is to use an online calculator like TDEE, Total Daily Energy Expenditures. So if you actually put TDEE calculator in Google, the first result is going to give you the online calculator that I actually like to use. I've actually tested my BMR, my basal metabolic rate, in a lab, so I do know that this calculator is pretty accurate in measuring your basal metabolic rate. Of course, it can differ a little bit from person to person. It's mainly dependent on your weight and total activity level. The main thing that an online calculator can't accurately guess is how much you move throughout your day. So it will give you options for choosing if you're sedentary, if you're lightly active, but these are really hard to define because you might be working out several times a week, but also sitting down most of your day. And another person might be really active and moving around and walking, but not actually doing exercise activity. So it's a little bit hard to estimate these, and usually you would start with an estimation from that calculator, and then after that kind of just adjust as you go by seeing if you're losing weight or if you're losing weight a little bit too slow or too fast, and then you kind of just tweak the calories as you go. But basically, if you're just starting out and you just want a starting point, the first way, as I said, is to use an online calculator. Second way, which is more accurate but a little bit more tedious, would be to track your calories for 2 weeks. And this would be in 2 weeks in which you're basically eating regularly and your weight is staying the same, so that you know that overall the average of what you're eating is pretty much your maintenance calories. And this is on a regular week where you're just eating as normal. This is how you can calculate how much you're already eating right now to maintain your weight. So what you would do is you would track your calories for 2 weeks straight, and after that you would take the total, you would divide it by 14, and then you could see the average daily calories that you've eaten to maintain your weight. That's something that you can plug into MyFitnessPal, and if you're trying to lose weight, then you can create a deficit from those calories. I would do between 300 to 500 calorie deficit from your maintenance calories, but that would depend, of course, on your body fat level and how fast you want to lose weight. So I would manually enter my calorie goals and also my protein, fat, and carb goals. These would be based off of my recommendations, but also a bit of personal preference. For example, you do have to have a minimum amount of fat and protein in your diet for health reasons, but aside from that, you can play between the rest of the fats and carbs between them to your liking. I personally feel that having higher carbs keeps me more satiated. Some people like to have higher fat in their diet and a little bit lower carbs, so that is totally up to you as long as you stick to your calorie goals. So in terms of using MyFitnessPal, after you've entered your calorie and macro goals, the next step is actually to plan your meals and measure them. And I know this sounds a little bit scary, but it's really simple once you get the hang of it. And after a while, you'll be able to kind of eyeball portions and not have to measure everything. That's what I love about tracking, is that you can actually transition into intuitive eating after you've gotten used to it, because now you know what's in your food, you know how many calories more or less are in different foods and different amounts. So to start, the basic thing that you need to know is how to add a meal. So you would click on add food, and here you can base basically type in any food that you like, let's say quick oats, and then you have your serving size and the number of servings. So serving size, it can appear in grams, it can appear in cups, it can appear in tablespoons. It's always going to be more accurate to measure this in grams and actually use a food scale, because as you will see when you start playing around with it, a lot of times we'll fill up a cup and we'll see that it's actually much more than the actual weight that's listed for that serving size, because it's not very accurate. You can have a fuller cup, you can have, you can take some cooked rice and it's going to be all smushed into one cup, or you can have it more fluffy and half of the weight is actually not in there. I definitely prefer to select in grams, and then number of servings is how many of those servings you use. For example, if you have the serving size as 10 grams and you're using 40 grams, then you would put one serving of 10 grams and then for number of servings. Or the easiest is usually to just put 1 gram in the serving size and then number of servings, you put how much the total grams is. So the other option you have is actually to scan any packaged goods. So you're gonna go to add food, you're gonna click on the barcode, and then you're gonna take your packaged good and you basically just scan that barcode on the item. Every item is going to have one. Let's say I'm scanning this. This is almond flour. It gave me a serving size of 28 grams. So if I want to have more than that, I could also change the serving size to 1 gram and then, for example, type in 50 grams if I want to use 50 grams in my recipe. So I would click that and I would click V. Now, how do I actually measure these 50 grams? Personally, I would rather measure the grams instead of the volume, because I want to be more accurate, especially when it's things that are higher in fat, because they're much denser in calories. So a few grams here and there can add up to a lot more calories throughout the day if you're not accurate. So I'm actually going to place this bowl on top. I'm gonna turn it on. First of all, I'm gonna make sure that it already says grams in here so that I have the right unit. It needs to be on 0 to begin with when the plate is already on the food scale. Now I know that anything I add on top of it, it's going to measure aside from the bowl or plate that I'm using. So now I'm gonna pour it in and I have 50 grams. Now the second option that we have is if we actually want to pour something liquid, especially if it's like peanut butter or tahini or anything that comes out of a jar, then I would first place this on top of the food scale. I would zero it out so that now it's on 0. And now anything that I actually take out of here, it's gonna show me the weight of what I took out. So I'm gonna take a spoon out, for example, and then I'm gonna pour it here, and then it's gonna show me right over here that it's 13 grams. And that is actually what I took out of the jar. So another feature that I really like in the MyFitnessPal app is the ability to save meals. So a lot of us have the same breakfast every day, or we have like 2 to 3 different breakfasts that we alternate in between. So what you can do is actually go into edit after you've put in your breakfast, and you select the items that you're going to save as your breakfast, and then you click save meal. You can name that, let's say oatmeal breakfast, and then you click save, okay. And now when you want to add a food, let's say I go to meal 2, then I go to meals, and then I can actually select oatmeal breakfast, put it in, and I don't have to type it in all over again every day. And this saves so much time, you guys, especially when you're having a lot of the same meals throughout the day. So another thing to note is that if you want to see how many of the macronutrients you've consumed, the protein, the fats, the carbs, you're going to click on the calories remaining on top, and then you're going to see under the nutrients tab the total protein, carbs, and fat that you've consumed for the day out of your total goal. So all of these features really help you stay on track, and this app is great for flexible dieting. I personally love it because it means that I don't have to stick to some rigid meal plan or eat the same things every day. I can literally just pick and choose whatever I want. I still prefer to actually plan my day ahead of time. So usually I eat more or less like repetitive things from day to day, but I will switch out a few things like snacks, for example, or if I'm eating out, then I'm going to plug in like a custom amount of calories, let's say 700 to 800 calories, maybe even more than that, ahead of time, and I'll save them for dinner, and that way I know to consume a little bit less throughout the day. So there are a lot of ways to use this app for flexible dining to make sure that you're not too rigid, so that you can eat the things that you like, you can put some ice cream in there, you can put some chocolate in there. Of course, most of the food is going to be whole food because I still want to feel full. I still want to get all my macro and micronutrients in, but it gives me the flexibility to have a normal life, have a social life, eat with other people, eat normal foods, and basically still keep on track, still lose weight if I'm trying to lean down. And afterwards, you can really easily transition from here into intuitive eating because you already know more or less what's in different foods. You know how to make the better swaps for your calorie bank. So I don't track all the time, only when I have a specific goal, like I'm cutting and I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight, then I'll be tracking. Rest of the time, I'm doing intuitive eating based on all the knowledge that I've learned using tracking and understanding what's in my food. Same as when I'm traveling abroad, when I'm eating in restaurants, I make my choices based on the knowledge that I acquired from the time that I spent tracking. I hope this was helpful, and if you guys have any questions, please write me down in the comments below. And don't forget that if you like this video, hit the like and the subscribe button because I'm going to be uploading a lot more informative videos, pretty much everything about how I stay track in my lifestyle. Bye guys!